The following is a presentation of the Best Station. The views and comments made in the following program do not necessarily represent the views and comments of the Best Station.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fast Pitch Special 2016 Early Off-Season Preview Show. I am your co-host, MC Brown.
And I am your co-host, Eric Lenneberg.
The Doctor of Baseball, and we are here with a special edition of the Fast Pitch. And we can be reached on social media at the Fast Pitch MLB on Twitter, Facebook.com/TheFastPitch. And we are under the umbrella of our good personal longtime friend and producer, Craig Best, who can be reached at facebook.com/thebeststation, but we now can be found on www.thebeststation.net.
That's right.
And we want to thank Craig and all you great listeners for joining us here and giving us the opportunity to educate you on some baseball news. And we're going to jump right in. We're 40 days from spring training.
68 days from opening day.
82 days.
82 days.
Well, that was a test and you failed. Yeah. That's okay. Well, I won't hold it against you. We're going to jump right in. We also want to give quick shout out to our brothers in podcasting who just joined the Best Station family, the Comic Casters. So we urge you guys to listen to their show if you love comic books. I'm on that show, and that's not a shameless plug, but I just want to tell you guys that you can also hear me on that show.
MC Brown is the Doctor of Comics.
And I am the Doctor of Comics and learned from the Doctor of Baseball. So, yes, quick shout-out to my brothers there, and we are also under the Best Station family, and please check that show out as well.
Okay, let's get right into it.
We're going to jump right in. We're going to do the American League this show. And part two will be on the second show, obviously, the National League. But we're going to jump right in. We're going to start with the American League East, Doctor.
Baltimore Orioles.
And we're going to go alphabetically with the Baltimore Orioles, who finished third in their division in 2015. And they're on the verge of losing two players, I think, pending physicals right now. And that would be
Wei-Yin Chen, the pitcher.
Wei-Yin Chen, who's on the verge of signing with the Miami Marlins.
And outfielder Gerardo Parra, who is on the verge of signing with the Colorado Rockies.
And that's fresh off the press there, so it's pretty likely that those deals go through. Obviously, anything can happen, but they're going to probably lose both those players, potentially Chris Davis, but that's not guaranteed. I know that the ongoing negotiations with their contracts right now, but as far as right now, their only major move that they've done that we're going to be talking about is the Korean outfielder, and you can say his name, Hyun-Soo Kim, and he has signed, I believe, for a few years. And what's going to happen here is, as of right now, the Orioles they were one place out, or excuse me, they were in third, so they're middle of the pack last year, but very few wins separating them from the bottom of the division. So,
but there's been a lot of movements in this division, and we'll see how they turn out.
We're going to run right for their major outfielder. Adam Jones obviously will be returning. With no Parra, there's some questions about who's going to be manning their outfield. We got Flaherty in there, possibly Trumbo, who they acquired. So he could be there along with potentially DHing.
I have a possible prospect, and I'll have one for every team. The possible prospect for the Orioles.
Okay.
27-year-old outfielder Mike Yastrzemski. Okay. Grandson of Hall of Famer Carl Yastrzemski.
He's got some pedigree.
Yes, he does.
Right there.
He put up good numbers in the minors the last 2 years.
So, I mean, there's obviously in some of these teams there's going to be breakout stars in spring training that we won't know until our spring training show. Obviously, when we're doing a season preview right before the season starts. But we still have returning Manny Machado at third base, J.J. Hardy at short, I believe Jonathan Schoop, at second base. And I think first base, as far as their depth chart is going, Trumbo might be slotted in there. But He obviously has versatility. He could
Right.
play
He
that
came up as
outfielder.
first baseman with the Angels originally, and was
and-
switched to outfield.
It's very possible he could be their regular first baseman, obviously, as well. And we got Wieters returning at catcher with Caleb Joseph backing him up. The DH looks like it could be a revolving door, but I think they have is that how you say his name? Reimold?
Nolan Reimold.
Nolan Reimold, who could be playing outfield as well. So he might be doing a little bit of both. So right now, without Chris Davis, is kind of in flux. We're not sure if he's going to resign, but I know that there's been some discussions that it could be a deadline coming up. So
Right.
it could be likely he's gone. But
Well, as spring training approaches, and it's approaching fast, I expect all of these top-name players to sign.
yeah, we still have a lot of players. We got Justin
Jason Upton, Yoenis Cespedes.
Justin Upton, Cespedes, the major name still there. Most of the pitching is signed,
Right.
Unless we're going to have some trades happening before spring training. Those slots are pretty much taken. So, top of the rotation, we got Chris Tillman, and we believe we got
Mike Gonzalez.
Mike Gonzalez,
Zach
correct?
Britton.
Zach Britton. We had Ubaldo Jimenez,
Paulo Jimenez.
Kevin Gossman.
Kevin Gossman, and Dylan Bundy coming up from the minors.
Okay.
Hopefully injuries will not sideline him.
So we still have, still have returning as their closer, Zach Britton. So, I don't know. We're going to give, at the end of each kind of review of these teams, we're going to give what we believe is their placement, and then we'll do a recap at the end of the division. Dr. Baseball, I got them finishing last. I have them in fifth. Where do you have them placed?
Fifth might not be a bad pick. I've got them coming in third. But
You have them returning in the
I'm
same
returning
spot.
in third, and only because a couple of the other teams we're going to talk about have not made major moves to improve.
Okay, yeah. So there's not, like I said, there's not a whole lot of wins separating them from even the last place team. When we're looking at Boston Red Sox finished with 78 wins, Baltimore Orioles finished 81 and 81, and that's not a huge difference considering when we go to the Red Sox, who are going to be the next team up. I have them flipping spots, but as of right now, I know they still have a good amount of young talent, but unless I see them making some other moves, I have the Baltimore Orioles finishing last, and it might upset some Orioles fans, but
It might, but it's a good call, I think.
Somebody is going to finish last, so we don't know. And right now, until I see more, I would think some O's fans may agree that they want to see more done from their team. But
Right.
we're going to move on, and we'll see when we recap this division. We'll see if you agree with our choices. But we're going to be covering now the Boston Red Sox, who finished with 78 wins. Last year, they finished in dead last in this division at fifth.
And the funny thing about that, MC, the last two times the Red Sox have finished dead last, they've come back the next season to finish first. I don't believe that's going to happen again this year.
Yeah, I don't know here, but I will say that they made some huge moves, and and it's in a pitching category. We have David Price, now the ace of the Boston Red Sox,
ace of the staff,
and they also acquired Craig
Kimbrell,
as
and
the closer.
one of the top closers, if not the top closer in Major League Baseball.
Yes, Craig Kimbrell, some lights-out years he had with the Atlanta Braves before being traded to the Padres in the offseason.
Right, and I was surprised the Padres traded him.
Yes, and I believe it was just for just some young prospects, right? Yeah,
yes.
so nobody from the team last year that departed, that's cost them a huge hole. So it's basically you added, both Price in free agency and Craig Kimbrell for prospects who may or may not pan out for the Padres.
Right.
And then you're bringing back a very young core team that had some good talent there. You have to start an outfield, obviously, Rusney Castillo, who was signed to that big contract in the offseason last year. Didn't really live up to huge expectations, but I think in the later part of the year, he's starting to come around. He was playing regularly. Mookie Betts had a really great year, basically man in right field as his, and Jackie Bradley returns as a center fielder. So
big expectations for Betts and Bradley.
And they're going to have to come through for this team, obviously, to compete, and I think they'll get better. From what I've seen of the team and what I've followed of them, it's looking good as far as a young core for them. They have Pablo Sandoval at third
Now let me
base.
talk about that, because I don't believe Pablo is going to stay at third base. I think Pablo
Why
is
is
going to
that?
move to first base, where Hanley Ramirez has been. Hanley will move to DH. Ramirez's best position really is holding the bat. All right, he is no longer the infielder he was years ago. He's had a lot of injuries since he played for the Dodgers.
So you're just writing off David Ortiz, huh?
Not writing him off, but this is his last year
He's their
coming
DH.
up.
And that could be next year, but
I
injuries
still
happen.
think Ramirez is going to DH.
We'll see. Pablo certainly would be a good candidate for first. I mean, at third base, Brock Holt, pretty much Mr. Utility, would be a great choice to plug in there if that's the case. But
the other thing, they have aging players, not to mention Dustin Pedroia along with Ortiz. And
Pedroia was hurt last year.
He was, and he is the soul of the Red Sox, really, but he is getting up in years, and we'll see how his skills either decline or improve this year.
We can't forget about Xander Bogaerts, who really had a great year as well.
Yeah, he came on strong.
He was pretty consistent all year for him. And Blake Swihart, the catcher, who kind of came up and solidified the catching position for him. A lot of good young players. But you look at that rotation. Now, topped by price, you have Clay Buchholz,
Rick Porcello,
and how do you say his first name? Rodriguez? Is it
Eduardo
Rodriguez? And a bunch of other candidates for the fifth starter position. You have Kelly and Wright, Owens, and Elias, all in contention for those spots.
They also have Wade Miley, but I don't see him being a factor on this team.
Miley, I think was I don't know if he was traded or
no, he was traded from the Diamondbacks to the Red Sox.
Oh, so he's now on their team.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to factor for them. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Miley, yeah, I don't believe isn't a factor in there. We're going to go to the bullpen where Koji has been bumped by Craig Kimbrell, and that might be kind of an Achilles heel for him. I don't know if that's...
Can Koji be an eighth-inning bridge to Kimbrell? I don't know.
I don't know. But, yeah, certainly this will be an interesting year for them. Will they continue to progress? I don't think 78 wins was an atrocious... They were in a tough division, and I see them... as I said, they finished fifth. I have them slotted at third. I have them finishing third, basically flip-flopping with the Baltimore Orioles.
Okay, I have them slotted dead last in fifth place. I don't see them improving, not with this team. And that is, as you said, a tough division. And other teams have taken a lot of steps to improve, and we'll talk about that now.
We'll see what happens, yeah. And that's anybody's guess. We'll see if you fans agree. Again, at the Fast Pitch MLB on Twitter, send us your tweets. Let us know if you agree with these choices. We're going to move on to the New York Yankees. And they finished second last year. And... Not huge losses by any means. I think the trade with the Cubs was huge with getting Starlin Castro, cost them Adam Warren, and the Cubs ended up releasing Brennan Ryan. Anyways.
Starlin Castro could be a game changer, though, for the Yankees. I expect him to.
He came along pretty late in the season and for the Cubs and was pretty good in their stretch run and their pennant chase. Another major move, obviously, Arnoldus Chapman is now their closer, bumping both Andrew Miller and Dylan Betances to set up roles.
And Chapman, you can say what you want, whatever's going on in his life. He's a left-handed closer who throws over 100 miles an hour regularly, not just once in a while.
Yes, this is a game-changing move,
yes,
as you said, for them because that's a dominant closer. He didn't get nearly the amount of opportunities that a closer of his caliber should with the Reds.
Yeah, that's right.
And now... obviously, they traded prospects for him, so basically, I believe this was a great move on the Yankees. I don't even know if this is a precursor to another move, depending on Miller or Betances being shipped out.
They do have other closers, but Chapman is the closer, and I'm sure other teams are interested in Miller and Betances.
Chapman is the man here. So we're going to look at their outfield, where you got in left field, Brett Gardner is slotted in. You got Jacob Ellsbury in center. And returning Carlos Beltran in right. So that's going to be pretty solidified.
Pretty solid outfield. Beltran declining, though. I don't know that he'll be the right fielder all year.
Yeah. We got Chase Headley at third for them. Didi Gregorius returns at short. And obviously Castro right now slotted as the second baseman as what he played for the Cubs. Things can change. I've heard rumblings like Castro could play some third and stuff. I don't believe he's returning the short with Gregorius there. But, then you got Teixeira returning the first, and he's been injured. He's hit the injury bug.
Teixeira was on the way to a great season last year, almost an MVP season when he got hurt in August.
And Greg Bird is his backup, and he actually played pretty well for him. But
he played very well. He's got a left-handed bat, which plays well in Yankee Stadium. They got that short porch in right field.
Oh, yeah. You got catcher Brian McCann, who's, solidifies that for him, and obviously A-Rod.
Will A-Rod be back? I guess he will.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I guess he will.
And their rotation, you got, how do you say Tanaka's first name? Doctor?
Tanaka? Anaki Tanaka.
Pronounce. No, the
Masahiro Tanaka. You got it right that time. You're starting to learn the pronunciation.
I'm starting to learn from you, yes. We got Michael Pineda, or was that...
Michael Pineda?
Pineda, yes. And Nathan Eovaldi.
Nathan Eovaldi, let me talk about him for a second. Came up with the Dodgers back in 2011. He is a strikeout pitcher, and yet he didn't get a lot of wins this year. ERA was a little up, and if he doesn't improve this year, I see them trading him.
Yeah, he was consistent, though. I think he was the guy that made all the starts for him after that trade from the Marlins.
Yeah, second half of the season.
Yeah, because I think an injury bug hit really the whole staff for the most part. But you had CC Sabathia. He's got slotted at fourth, and I believe it was Luis Severino. Is that how you say?
Luis Severino.
Yeah.
Can you believe CC Sabathia, a fourth starter?
Yeah, so he's slotted, and Ivan Nova obviously right in the mix too. I believe that's how you say his name too. And we got Mitchell there rounding out as potential candidates. But I'm not gonna throw this team under the bus. I mean, that's the rotation, if healthy, like a lot of teams, obviously health being a major concern. They finished second last year. I still have them second. I mean, I'm not saying that the Yankees. I mean, the addition of Castro and Chapman, 2 huge moves. They really, Adam Warren was shipped to the Cubs in the deal, and then prospects. I don't see enough for any of the teams below them to knock them off. But I don't really. I think they might be one move away or one superstar breakout away from maybe trying to compete with the Blue Jays. If anything, the Blue Jays rotations lost Price, but they didn't have Price with them all year anyways last year. But I have them as solid 2.
Well, I believe Teixeira is going to have a comeback year. I believe Sabathia is also, and I have picked the Yankees to win that division.
Wow! All right, look at the doctor there with his bold prediction. All right, we're going to move on now to the Tampa Rays, who finished 4th in 2015. I believe they were just under the Baltimore Orioles there. They were close, but the only major, I think they made the major move, I think they had trade with the Seattle Mariners, right? They acquired them, that they acquired Logan Morrison.
Oh, yes, Logan Morrison and Brad Miller from the Mariners.
So they have them slotted in positions. We're going to take a look at their outfield, which is very young. This is a very young team, obviously, still, as the Rays continuously, they stay with their youth movement. We got Jennings and left.
Desmond Jennings, who they picked up this year, yeah.
Yes, with Brandon Guyer as the backup there. We got Kevin Kiermaier, very
defensive, strong outfield.
Very good young player in center field, and Steven Souza Jr. in right field. And that's a pretty solid young outfield.
Young outfield. I think it needs a couple years.
A lot of strikeouts from Souza.
Yes.
So, yes, definitely I think they might be a few years from competing, but you have the returning Evan Longoria. Solid third baseman.
Oh, yeah.
If we were doing an FFT segment, obviously he'd be a guy you'd want on your team.
Absolutely. James Loney at first base.
In the middle of the infield, we got potentially Miller. Obviously slotted in right now as a top pick, and Logan Forsythe at second base. There is no Ben Zobrist to be super sub this year.
That's
Traded
right.
to the Royals and signed with the Cubs in the offseason. So he is gone. And then the catcher, they got, I think they acquired Conger, but, they still got...
they have Rene Rivera.
And Caselli also.
Kirk Caselli. Kirk Caselli is the best offensive catcher in that mix.
Yeah, so that might be maybe a battle for second place, spot in the catcher and in the spring training.
And did you mention Chris Archer in their rotation?
We're going to begin the rotation. Logan Morrison slotted as a DH, obviously we were talking about. Yes, Chris Archer, number 1, clearly. As we get into rotation, followed by, obviously, he's not going to be ready for a start of the year. He might be looking late in the year for Alex Cobb, I believe is, he would be their second starter if he was starting the year, but he's on the disabled list until August, more than likely. Jake Odorizzi is their default number 2 starter. You got number 3, then would be Drew Smiley. Had a great year last year, right?
Right.
Was it...
Matt Moore.
I would call him Mike Moore.
He was limited to 14 starts in the last 2 years, but he has always been one of their top prospects as a pitcher, and I look for him to come on this year.
I believe so, too. You hear a lot of buzz around him, and Ramirez would round out that rotation there.
Right.
So basically, they've got a lot of young talent there, obviously, and looking at their bullpen, Brad Boxberger returns as their closer. McGee will be, I guess, as of right now, relegated to setup man. But they've had a couple, ups and downs with that position with injuries and such in the past. So I don't see them moving out of that 4th spot. 2016, still a super young team. I don't see them finishing last. That's where I currently have the Orioles, but I have the Rays finishing 4th again.
And we are in agreement here. I have the Rays finishing 4th. And let me tell you one of the reasons I do. They do have a solid young team. They do not have manager Joe Madden anymore.
That's a huge
Now, you
factor.
look what he did for the Cubs last year. First-year manager. Yeah, that's right.
Manager of the year, and I shows you right there that I think you take this core with Madden, and yes, I think you see an improvement every year. Here, I'm not sure we're going to be able to see that jump, and I think just because he's that caliber of a manager, he makes that much of a difference.
Yes, so I see them as 4th place, too.
Okay, yeah. So finally, we're going to round out the division with 2015 divisional champions Toronto Blue Jays, who basically they clobbered their way into the playoffs with a huge.
What an offensive juggernaut they were!
And they lost obviously David Price, who they acquired, during the season, and traded Ben Revere for their addition that we have here, Drew Storen, who is now their closer. And we have most of this team returning. Except for Ben Revere, obviously not manning center. The depth chart shows Kevin Pillar has been moved to center, to man center. Jose Bautista returns in right field. And Saunders is slotted in.
Michael Saunders, former Mariners outfielder.
In left field, yes. So,
and they're not losing anybody from their really powerful offense like Troy Tulowitzki, Russell Martin, Edwin Encarnacion. We can go on and on.
Yeah, you have Josh Donaldson, obviously, just the American League MVP, obviously, just incredible player. He's man's their third base. You got possibly Devin Travis returning in late May, and he was actually coming out early last year, so Colabello may be playing first base, it looks like, with Encarnacion sharing duties in DH, and you had mentioned Russell Martin, obviously the solid catcher that they signed big-time deal last year. And the rotation, minus Price, still pretty strong with good young pitchers. You got Marcus Stroman,
and they still have a couple of returning veterans, Marco Estrada, Mark Burley.
Ulysses R. Dickey, your favorite name in baseball. You are
A. Dickey.
Yes. J.J. Happ, I believe, is in a rotation potentially right for that final spot.
That's right.
Drew Hutchinson, and is that Jesus Chavez?
Jesus Chavez.
Yes. Drew Storen obviously mans the bullpen. Roberto Osuna, who actually did pretty well for them, in the closer. He had some struggles, but
well, he didn't struggle much for the way they came in.
Yeah, there was brief, I think, and the good bullpen. I got him at first, though. I don't see anybody knocking him out.
You see them winning the division next year.
Yeah, you have the Yankees there, but I don't see how this team has gotten that much weaker.
It hasn't gotten that much weaker, but I believe the Yankees, just if not from the moves of Castro and Chapman, from other deals, I believe they're going to make soon. I got the Yankees winning that division.
We'll see what happens. This is a preview show. I'm judging it on the here and now. You have the potential still, so we'll see what happens.
Well, I look in the crystal ball, and I see that crystal ball very clearly and very soon.
Prognosticator. We'll see what happens here. So before we're going to go to station break, we just want to thank you again for listening. This has been the AL East preview. Right now, just to recap, last year, Toronto Blue Jays first, Yankees second, Baltimore Orioles third, Tampa Rays fourth, and Red Sox fifth. And my predictions, just to give you a recap, I have the Blue Jays in first, Yankees in second, Red Sox third, Rays fourth, and O's fifth. Doctor, you have?
I've got the New York Yankees winning that division, Toronto coming in second, Baltimore a distant third, Tampa Bay fourth, and Boston in the cellar.
Do you agree, folks? We want your tweets. We want your messages. Do you agree with the choices? Just give us your preview as well. Let us know. Drop a message to us on our Facebook.com/thefastpitch. Tweet us at thefastpitchmlb. Let us know. We want that feedback. We want to hear your choices. I know it's early enough. It's actually middle of the offseason. It's early in the year, but we're getting close. So give us your feedback. Tell us if we're right or wrong. If you disagree with every word that comes out of the doctor's mouth, especially if you live in the state of Arizona, by all means, throw that flaming venom right at him because he's used to it.
It's been coming hard and fast. I'm used to it.
And he's used to it. But right now we're going to head to a station break. Pay the bills, folks.
All right, we will be right back.
The Fast Pitch will return in just one moment.
Hi, I'm Jim Colburn, former Major League player and Santa Paula born and raised. And July 31st, a Sunday, as part of the Santa Paula Balloon Festival, the Citrus Festival, I'm going to bring some of my baseball guys, and we're going to take on the mayors of Ventura County. Bring them on. My boys, they've got them.
Hello, boys and girls. It's me, the Frito Bandito. You know what I heard about you? I heard you want to be a Frito Bandito like me. You do? Then you must sing the Bandito song. Let's sing together. You just follow the bouncing Fritos corn chips bag. Ay, 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 ay. I am the Frito Bandito. Hey, I like Fritos corn chips. I love them, I do. I want Fritos corn chips. I'll get them from you. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, I am the Frito Bandito. Give me Fritos corn chips and I'll be your friend. The Frito Bandito, you must not offend. Now, boys and girls, you are Frito Banditos too. You sing the Frito Bandito song and you loco for crunchy Fritos corn chips. That's nice. Munch, munch, munchy bunchy Fritos corn chips.
And we are back. We want to thank you all again for listening. We're on our 2016 early off-season preview show, and we're on the AL Central, Doctor of Baseball.
And the winner of the AL Central last year went on to win the World Series.
You can believe that. And we're starting obviously alphabetically, not on placement, but we've decided we will give the records along with the replacement. But we're going to start with the Chicago White Sox, the Southsiders, where I'm from.
That's right.
Where I grew up. They finished fourth at 76 and 86 last year. And I think they made the most moves, or they're pretty close with the Tigers making the most moves in the offseason. Most notably, Todd Frazier now manning third base.
Todd Frazier.
Big pickup for them.
Big pickup, a three-team trade with the Dodgers and the Reds.
And he is also joined by Brett Lawrie, who is going to be manning second base for the Southsiders. Alex Avila looks like he's penciled in to be their starting catcher because Flowers has moved on to the Atlanta Braves along with Gordon Beckham. And Dearno Navarro, I believe, will be backing him up as their other major offseason move.
Right.
So
they have lost Alexi Ramirez.
Alexi Ramirez is gone. We don't know where he's gone as of airtime for the show as we're recording this. Alexi is not signed with a major league team. We expect that to happen soon, but we do not know. So we got the Southsiders finishing fourth. We're just going to kind of review their depth chart for you folks. We got Melky Cabrera in left field. Had a pretty solid year for him last year.
He did.
Adam Eaton, who came on pretty strong. Former Arizona Diamondback. I think he's had a pretty good year last year for him.
Yes, he did. A better year than ever. Best year he's had.
Nice leadoff hitter for them. And how do you say his first name? Garcia.
Avasale. You might as well defer to me on all the pronunciations.
When I'm struggling, I will, obviously. I know this team pretty much. It's just I'm not as good as you. Here, I said it.
Thank you.
Todd Frazier.
Finally, he admits it.
In pronunciations, folks. Todd Frazier at third base, obviously, as we mentioned, he's going to be man at rookie, looks like, I believe. Tyler Saladino, you know anything about this
Tyler
kid?
Saladino, solid minor league player, and he's penciled in to be the shortstop.
Goodbye, Alexi. You've been replaced by Tyler Saladino. Second base, obviously, Brett Lawrie, as we discussed. The monster, Jose Abreu at first base. Not a bad sophomore season for this man.
Not bad at all, and he's one of the many Cuban players who starred in Cuban Major League.
Yes.
Came over here, and he has done the job.
Who the doctor of baseball refuses to acknowledge their stats like he does the Japanese baseball stats.
We'll talk about that on a future show. I believe the Cuban Major League is right up there, too.
I would say so, and he proves it. Catcher Alex Avila, as we mentioned, with Dearno Navarro. Excuse me, doctor. And the DH, Adam LaRoche, who plays his share of first base, but Jose Abreu usually plays that. So we got a great rotation here in the White Sox. We have Chris Sale, obviously the ace of the White Sox staff. Right behind him, Jose
Quintana.
John Danks moves up to third. Great rookie last year, Carlos Rodon.
Yes, Carlos came on very big last year.
Round out rotation is who? Tell me. Eric Johnson.
Johnson, that's
blank
correct.
look on a doctor's face, just
Blank
as I
look,
built
'cause I
him
wanted
up.
to know if you knew him.
Yeah, oh yes, and then we just crashes down to earth with me. And David Robinson, pretty solid year. He blew a few saves, though, a little bit more than the White Sox would like. He's
David
still their
Robertson,
closer.
the former Yankee closer.
Yes, sir. So he returns as their closer. And the White Sox, who finished fourth last year, I have them penciled in as second. I believe they're going to make a pretty strong jump. I think there's not a whole lot of wins and losses separating these teams here. I think that's a pretty good offseason for the Southsiders, and they have a good, solid rotation. I think Rodon's going to be even better this year, and I have them penciled in at second. Where do you have them finishing?
They have made a lot of good moves in the offseason. They do have a solid team. I have them in fourth place. this year.
Fourth, same place. So they've done nothing to you, Doctor.
They've done a lot, but they will not unseat the first three teams.
Okay, that's fair enough. We'll see. We want to hear what you guys think, and we will continue to plug that for you guys. So let us know at the Fast Pitch MLB on Twitter or Facebook.com/The Fast Pitch, and let us know, especially if you disagree with the doctor. Cleveland Indians are our next team we'll be going over, and the Indians have a couple players. They stole one player away from the rival Detroit Tigers. They have Rajai, how do you say his name?
Davis.
Rajai Davis is now going to be in their outfield. Mike Napoli will be penciled in as first baseman.
Kind of a journeyman now, but he still puts up some power numbers.
Chris Johnson, who they had acquired from the Atlanta Braves, is no longer with them. I believe as of this moment he is not signed with anyone that I have
he
on
has
my
not.
list. That's really the only notable thing. And basically we're going to go over their team as well. Pretty solid. Finished third for a team that I wouldn't have expected this. Finished third at 81-80 last year. And what a rotation they have, and we will go over that last.
Former Cy Young Award there.
Yes, sir. Michael Brantley will not be back till April or May. April obviously started the season, probably May. The right shoulder, I believe, surgery he had. So Rajai will take over left, I believe, in his absence. We have a rookie pencil in at center field, Abraham
Almonte,
Tell us,
solid
do
player.
You know anything about him?
I do. He put up a couple solid years in the minors. He's young and part of the youth movement.
Yeah,
for the White
so
Sox.
he's no, this is for the Indians.
I'm sorry, the Indians. He's
Yes.
a strong defensive player.
Yes.
Which they have needed in center field.
They will, because they have a former third baseman right now penciling in right, Lonnie Chisenhall, who's one of your
Okay.
favorite players from the fantasy league. I see 2 years ago you had him.
Years
didn't you?
ago, but I don't see him in the outfield.
But right now he is. They're starting right fielder, or it could be, what is it, Curtis? Is it Curtis Cowgill?
Colin Cowgill, former Arizona
that's right.
Diamondback.
Yes, Colin Cowgill, who he could be playing there along with Chisenhall. So we'll see. Chisenhall has a good solid bat. That's probably why they're giving him a chance out there. But they have, I believe it's Giovanni. How do you say his last name? Ushurla?
Giovanni Urshela.
Yes, he's now at third base for them. Francisco Lindor is
Francisco Lindor has great rookie year, and he might have been rookie of the year after the Astros
runner up,
shortstop.
yeah, to the rookie year.
Let me go back to Chisenhall for a second. I don't see him playing outfield. He's basically a DH. When he played third base, it was pretty much known if you were in the seats behind first base in Cleveland, you scattered when the ball was hit to him.
Yeah, well, Carlos Santana's the DH. I don't think he's going to be unseating him, so Lonnie better learn how to play right field. Let's put it that way. Jason Kipnis, the solid second. He had a nice bounce back year last year for the Indians, the Tribe. He manned second base, and the newcomer Mike Napoli from the Texas Rangers at first base, and he might share flip flopping with Carlos Santana from time to time, especially in National League games. Yan Gomes, who had some injuries last year early on, missed a good portion of the early part of the year, but finished. He struggled a little bit, but I think he'll have a bounce back.
Yeah, he'll be back.
He's a good, solid, stable backstop. For the Tribe, especially with this rotation, as we're going to go over. Former Cy Young Award winner, but hard luck pitcher last year, Corey Kluber, is the ace of the staff. Listen to this: Carlos Carrasco is the second pitcher in the rotation. Danny Salazar is third. Trevor Bauer fourth. That is a heck of a young starting rotation.
Yes, it is. Wow.
And Anderson is the fifth starter, and you had, and we have Tomlin potentially in that mix as well.
Right.
But pretty much that's 1 through 4 is solid.
Right.
And
As solid as any in
solid
baseball.
as we potentially, puts them right in contention, I think, no matter what. Cody Allen returns as their closer, and I have them finishing third as well. I believe that White Sox make that jump, and because the White Sox, I think their offense, they're going to miss Brantley for a little bit of time there too. And Yan Gomes, we don't know if Yan Gomes is going to return to 2 years ago form, where he was a really, really good player for him. So I got him at third. Where do you have him?
I have them coming in second place.
Wow.
Second place next year.
Second place. You have them unseating the Minnesota Twins.
I
at
do.
Second. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Detroit Tigers, who outside of the White Sox made the most moves. Most notably, Jordan Zimmerman is now the second in their staff after Verlander, so he's going to be a newcomer who replaces David Price, who left. Rajai Davis is gone, obviously, to the Indians. They also picked up K-Rod as their closer.
K-Rod, and he was sought after by a lot of teams. I know the Dodgers were after him. One of the many players the Dodgers were after and didn't get.
I just think, he kind of just, people thought he was done, but he kept having great years with the Brewers, and now he's on a little bit better team, I think. The Brewers are rebuilding.
They're rebuilding,
clearly. Cameron Maybin comes over from the Atlanta Braves via the Padres, where he had started, and basically, or was that the
he came
was
from
he
the
on the
Braves.
Marlins as well? Too?
No,
I
he was on the Padres a couple
He was
years
definitely
ago.
the Padres, yeah. Aviles and Jared Saltalamacchia.
Jared
How do you say his name?
Saltalamacchia.
Saltalamacchia also on there in the depth chart, but basically we're going to go over their depth chart here now. Gose is in left field. That's Anthony, right?
Anthony Gose.
Anthony Gose is in their left fielder. Cameron Maybin, obviously, as we discussed now, in center field because of the departure of Rajai. J.D. Martinez, solid year.
Yes,
solid
yes, he
year.
did.
I had him in my fantasy team. Strikeouts, but I think he was even better than he was 2 years ago, and his home run total just skyrocketed. Definitely solid bat in right
And
field.
they have an infield that can't be beat.
Yes, listen to the nice solid year for Nick Castellanos. He mans third base. Jose Iglesias.
Iglesias.
Yeah, you can attest to
My
Jose's
favorite Tiger.
Definitely big year for him at short on your fantasy team. Ian Kinsler, second base, very solid. Who's a former
Arizona
Texas
State Sun Devil and Texas Ranger.
Yeah, and we
He
got
was the Tigers traded Prince Fielder for him.
Yes.
Now that shows you how important he is.
big
to their
swap
team.
there. Kinsler definitely huge bat for them. And Miguel Cabrera.
Miguel Cabrera, what do you
Rounds
even
out
say
first
about
base.
him? God, that hasn't been said.
Gigantic bat for them. James McCann, brother of Brian McCann at catcher, and then we got Holiday and Saltamala. I'll just let you say his name. Rounding out the competition for catcher, Victor Martinez at DH.
Martinez, best DH in the American
Very
League Central.
solid, very solid. And listen to this rotation. We got Justin Verlander, obviously, is the ace of the staff. Had a no-hitter last year.
No hitter
didn't he?
against the Angels, but he is getting older.
Yeah, against your Angels, or your second favorite team. Jordan Zimmerman, obviously, coming over, signed away from the Nationals, Washington Nationals. We got, listen to this, you got Anibal Sanchez as a third starter on their team. Can you believe that?
No.
Is it Mike Pelfrey?
Mike Pelfrey.
Mike Pelfrey at penciled in at fourth, and we got a competition we got Norris,
Daniel Norris.
Daniel Norris, Boyd Green, obviously.
Matt Boyd.
So all those guys in contention for the fifth spot, and K-Rod obviously closing for them now. So a pretty solid team. They finished fifth last year. But a solid team as far as preview here. 74 and 87 is what they finished last year. I like the moves they made. I would like to see more, though, because I don't see them getting out of the cellar.
Okay, I have them picked for third place.
Wow.
And I believe the moves they made, especially pitching, will make the difference. As we know, pitching moves dominate. They make you win. They help you win. So in this
you may be
era,
right.
this
Yeah.
baseball era, pitching is
They lost
the
Price
force.
though. David Price departing. That's something that and they acquired him obviously in the offseason going in to the year last year, but obviously didn't do anything for him for them personally as far as their finish. They finished dead last, so they had made that trade to the Blue Jays,
right?
And that was it. So we're gonna move on now to the champions, the world champion Kansas City Royals. So. Number one, last year, obviously, 95 and 67. Contact hitting team.
They swing at
Solid
first
pitching
pitches. They
had,
don't
too.
strike out a lot.
Yeah, this is a team that's very tough to beat. We're gonna. I think Omar Infante is the only move I have listed that
Yes.
they have made, but they've lost Benzo Bryce. Obviously, in the offseason, they made the trade during the season, and Johnny Cueto is now a
San Francisco Giants. Yeah.
So both of those guys gone. Rentals did their job, and now they're gone. But the Royals probably are going to be right in the mix. I'm just going to take a guess, regardless of those losses. And then they have the potential to acquire anybody if they want to, too, because they're going to be in this mix. The returning Alex Gordon, though, he returns. He was re-signed by them, and he's going to be in left field for them, of course. Lorenzo Cain in center. Jared Dyson, right?
Jared Dyson in right field, a solid outfield. No weakness at all there.
No, and Orlando is obviously their fourth outfielder, and he was pretty solid for him, too. I just think it was Paolo Orlando. Mike Moustakas at third base. Alcides Escobar.
Alcides Escobar, a very underrated player who is incredibly solid. Former Milwaukee Brewer prospect, one of the many Brewer prospects starring around the league.
Man's shortstop, Omar Infante, obviously at second base. Eric Hoss is at first.
He is the rock in that lineup.
What a bat there. And Salvador Perez will be the catcher, along with, I think, they acquired Drew Butera, I believe.
They've got Drew Butera to be a backup.
He's also a backup in there. With T. Cruz is also in the mix. Kendry Morales, obviously great year. He was acquired from away from the Seattle Mariners a couple seasons ago, right?
Yeah,
from
great
last
DH.
Yes, helped them win the ring. So, yeah, he also returns at DH. Let's go over this rotation here. Minus Cueto now, obviously. Edison Volquez is Osada as their ace.
Edison Volquez, that's right.
So, and Yordani Ventura is their second starter. Obviously, he's had his ups and downs, but he's still solid. Pitcher is just going to keep getting better, folks. I think, just a young flamethrower. Chris Medlin's penciled in as third, the former Atlanta Brave. Huge prospect and is bounced back. He's in the third in the rotation. Duffy.
Danny Duffy.
Duffy, right? He's their fourth starter, and we got Vargas, who's recovering from Tommy John surgery, and Chris Young in that mix as well. And Wade Davis, the great closer who finished the year as a closer. Great setup, man.
I mean, ERA under 1 every season the last 3 years.
Finally gets a shot starting the year as a closer as Greg Holland. Currently, we have no team for Greg Holland.
No, he's out there.
I believe he's recovering from an injury, but I wouldn't be surprised if he bounced back somewhere with someone. But Wade Davis, pretty solid pitcher, and he's their closer. So I got them finishing at first again. That's
I have two prospects of theirs. If they have holes in the lineup, shortstop Raul Mondesi Jr. came up at the end of the year. Great glove, speed, has a bat. The other one, Bubba Starling. Bubba Starling was their number one pick a few years ago. He's going to be 24 years old. He's been slow to develop, but he will be there.
Yeah, so this should be just a nice bounce. I was like bounce back as a returning year for this team, and I don't see anybody unseating them. So I have them at first. Where do you have them?
I have them at first also.
So I don't think that's any question until we see something or some surprise, or if they have a few injuries. Obviously, they got some prospects, as you just mentioned, coming back. It's going to be tough to beat this team, folks. They're world champions for a reason.
I think they will be the dynasty of this, the 2010 through 2020 season.
Yes, I agree. I think you got a solid team, and they can acquire anybody, as we said. So we're going to round out the American League Central here, and that's going to be with the Minnesota Twins, who finished second, surprisingly enough. This young team at 83-79.
With 2 games left in the season, they were in the wild card hunt.
And yes, it had to be heartbreaking for them. I don't have any major moves of note.
No, and they don't often make moves in the offseason. They're a homegrown bunch of players.
Yeah, nothing major on that front. We're going to review their team. They got Eddie Rosario in left field. And Byron Buxton, right?
Byron Buxton,
yeah, excuse me, sorry. I was thinking of something else. In right field, Miguel Sano is also there. Great young hitters there. Trevor Plouth. Plouth is the third baseman. Escobar.
Eduardo Escobar,
yes. Eduardo is their shortstop. Brian Dozier, great big year from Dozier. I think that was one of the reasons they finished second.
Yeah, it is.
And Joe Mauer, obviously the great great contact first baseman for them, former
He's first
catcher.
base now, and when he was a catcher, 3-time American League batting champion. That's never been done in history. Joe
Yes,
Mauer.
yes.
Hats off to him.
Still roaring strong. And Kurt Suzuki is still their catcher. They tried to replace him last year. And
there was no replacing him.
replacement. Kurt is still their catcher as of right now. And how do you say his name at DH? Park?
Byung Ho Park, a
Byung
Korean
Ho
hitter,
Park.
another Korean power hitter. He was a big-time power hitter in Korea.
Yes. And we know how much you want those stats to count. As
Not
well
the
as
Korea.
Major League.
Okay, that's.
Yeah.
We're not going to go there. I don't want to get attacked again.
He gets attacked, folks. I don't have to be the one doing it. The rotation starts with Phil Hughes.
Phil Hughes, veteran, solid. He eats
Threw a
up a lot of
no-hitter,
innings.
didn't he? It was a couple years ago, I believe.
A couple years ago,
Yeah.
but he eats a lot of innings, and he'll win anywhere between 17, 19 games.
And this he didn't win the comeback of the year, but if he didn't, I don't know. Irvin Santana.
Irvin Santana.
Right?
The only reason he didn't was that he spent half the
Should have been in the
season
mix.
suspended because of PEDs.
Yeah, certainly. He huge roaring second half for.
He was one of the main reasons they were in the wild card hunt.
Without question, Irvin really. I mean, and we know too because we were tracking this stuff too as we play our fantasy leagues. We, plug. We definitely know that that he was also on our radar most of
Yes,
the time.
yes.
For trying to pick him up to get those wins. Kyle Gibson slot as their third starter. Tyler Duffy, right?
Tyler Duffy,
Four, and
he made
Tommy-
himself known in that pennant race this
Yes,
year.
yes, sir. And Tommy Malone. So they don't really have anybody else. This is their rotation.
Their
So
rotation. They
this
haven't
is
made
what
any
they-
moves. That's how it is.
And Glenn Perkins, awesome closer in there. He scuffled just a little bit. I mean, it was a person I had made a trade for in my fantasy team too, just to throw that out there. That very solid closer for them. This solid team. I think if you want to win this division with the Kansas City Royals, though, to stand pat and just hope these young players either just explode. I didn't see enough for them to move forward. In fact, I had them unseated by a couple spots because I don't see them. I think the Cleveland Indians are going to get better pitching wise. They have a better staff clearly, and I have them fourth.
Okay, I've got them dead last. The Twins didn't make any moves, as we talked about. I don't think, as strong as that rotation might be, I don't think they can unseat any of the four teams ahead of them. So I've got them dead last.
Dead last. So just to recap the AL Central, last year, Royals 1, Minnesota 2, Cleveland 3, Chicago 4, Detroit 5. I have the Royals at 1, Chicago White Sox at 2, the Indians finishing 3rd, the Twins 4th, and Tigers still 5th.
And I've got the Royals winning again. I think they're going to run away with the division again. I've got Cleveland 2nd, Detroit 3rd, the White Sox 4th, and the Twins dead last.
All right, so if you agree, we want to hear from you. If you disagree, we definitely want to hear from you. And let us know at the Fast Pitch MLB on Twitter, Facebook.com/the Fast Pitch. Throw it up there on the timeline so we could see it. I believe there is a way to message us personally, but we get those messages, but we want you to actually put it on there. So open discussion. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, we had a bunch of comments on last week's show. Believe me, we had a bunch of comments taking me to task.
In our next regular formatted show, you'll hear some of those, so don't be afraid. We'll put you right in the mix here, and we'll definitely address and answer any and all questions. So we're going to take our second and final station break before we go to the AL West, so stay tuned, stay with us, and we will be right back. You are listening to thebeststation.net, home of the best station, the best music, for the best audience. Now featuring the best podcasts for the best audience, with such podcasts as The Fast Pitch, starring MC Brown and Dr. Eric Lenneberg, covering any and all related MLB news and current events. And now featuring The Comic Casters, starring MC Brown, Colt Hudson, and Derek Ross, on location for comic book conventions, reviewing comic book trades and collections, and anything and all related comic book movies, news, and events. This is a presentation of thebeststation.net. The best station, the best music, for the best audience.
Grab a bucket and mop. Scrub the bottom and top. There is nothing so clean as my burger machine. With a broom and a brush. Clean it up for the rush. Before you open the door, or to shine on the floor. When we finish one day, again. Tell me, what does it mean? And McDonald is clean. You deserve a break today. So get up and get away to McDonald's, McDonald's, McDonald's.
And we are back on this special double-sized show, 2016 early off-season preview show. Doctor, what do you think so far?
Yeah, I think we've nailed it right on the head.
I think we're going to roll right into the final American League division here, the AL West. We shall cover. And
I believe the AL West is the toughest one to call in Major League Baseball. I think from first to last place, they're all going to be contenders. First to fourth place.
Definitely, I would say, we're going to have some fun doing this division for sure. Obviously, we're going alphabetically. We're starting with the Houston Astros, who finished second, surprisingly, because I thought they were going to finish first. But the Rangers came roaring back. They had an 86-76 record, and they don't really have to do too many moves, and they didn't.
No.
Obviously, they lost Scott Kazmir to the rotation.
Not a big loss, I don't think.
Well, Dodger fan here telling you he has no faith. Ye of no faith. Kazmir girl, 26, I believe, was going to be pretty upset when we'll hear her feedback, I'm sure, somewhere down the road. With
another attacker.
Yes. They lost Mark Appel, I believe is how you say his name.
Right.
Among other prospects in that trade for Ken Giles, who is now their closer. So that's really their major move in the offseason. Last year they had acquired, and solid year for him, Colby Rasmus is back to man left field. Also the other deal they made as well, getting Carlos Gomez, he manned center field for them, and George Springer, who had some injury problems last year, but a big bat.
That broken wrist really hampered him, but I believe he's going to come on strong.
I think he's going to be even better, obviously, as he cuts down the strikeouts. His power is there, though, and the speed. He's definitely a great player. He mans right. Jake Marishnek is their fourth outfielder,
Jake Marisnick, yeah.
Marisnick is how you say his name. Third base is manned by power man Luis Valbuena, not really hitting too well, right?
Luis Valbuena has sometimes the oddest stats in Major League Baseball. He'll hit 25, 30 home runs and bat 190,
A lot of power there, and I remember him from the Cubs too as well. But yeah, he still has a job. Obviously, he has enough power, and they're still giving him a shot, to hit above that 200 line. So he mans third base for him. Obviously, the Rookie of the Year, Carlos Correa
returning.
And Jose Altuve, the great second baseman for
Jose
them.
Altuve, and I want to mention something. Over the last 2 seasons, he has 425 hits. The guy is a hitter.
Hit master,
right.
Obviously. He great reason, one of the huge reasons that middle infield. And now you add Carlos Gomez right up the middle, not only defensively, but just the hits and power, offensive production from that whole middle there. You have, right now we have penciled John Singleton in, rookie, looks like at first base. Obviously Valbuena can play there with Gonzalez playing third. Is it Marwin Gonzalez?
Marwin Gonzalez.
Yeah, obviously that could happen as well. He played DH for him all year. Evan Gaddis. So he basically is back as DH because Jason Castro is their catcher.
Right.
And Max, I believe Max Stassi is how you say it? Stassi will be the backup. Obviously, Ken Giles bumps Luke Gregerson up from that closer spot, but he is their closer. They paid a lot for Ken Giles, and he backs up a rotation that's pretty solid here. As we both know, the Cy Young Award winning Dallas Keuchel. 2 great years in a row and many more to come, I believe, barring injury. Waiting for you, but I think you just blocked his name out there from your memory bank, sir. Colin McHugh is the number 2 starter. Mike Fiers, no-hitter.
Mike Fiers, a no-hitter.
Favorite pitchers.
Yeah, but by your logic, MC Brown, Mike Fiers should have been in the Cy Young race. We talked about that a few shows back.
You could try to. I don't even know why you're defending a player who's no longer with your team.
Well, because he did what he did.
A Dodger.
I don't care. He should have won the Cy Young. And Mike Fiers, pitched a no-hitter. So according to you, he should have been in the race.
So I think let's just start bringing up the past here that you're making things up here. So Mike Fiers pitched no-hitter Dr. Eric wants to belittle him.
I'm not belittling him. He's a
Well,
500 pitcher, though.
He's number 3 in a rotation here. He's above Lance McCullers, who's 4. Scott Feldman rounds it out, potentially as 5 with Peacock potentially in that mix. So solid team still. I think they're winning the division this year.
I think they win the division, too, and I think they have a shot to go to the World Series.
And very possible chance there. I was hoping for a Cubs and Astros World Series. Didn't happen for either team. Here we go now with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and a favorite of yours.
Yeah, but what a disappointment last season.
Finished 3rd at 85 and 77.
They were in the wild card hunt until the last day, actually, but just did not perform the way everyone expected them to.
Made a few moves, most notably acquiring Gold Glove shortstop Andrelton Simmons from the Atlanta Braves, who surprisingly traded him away.
Traded him away, and they
before
got
even their new ballpark.
Yeah, Eric Ibar goes to the Rays.
Yes, and I think some prospects as well. So they lose him. They gain him, Simmons, I mean. Also gaining Daniel Nava, wasn't he formerly of
from the
Red Sox as well? And Giovanni Soto looks like he's slotted as their starting catcher. He's with the White Sox last year. I think we failed to mention that as well as a loss for the Sox. But Soto is the starting catcher.
Carlos Perez right behind him.
We're going to go over their Nava, obviously. He's penciled in left field for them. Who's in center field? I think you know.
The one and only
really well.
Mike Trout, the greatest player in baseball.
Could be your number 1 pick in fantasy.
Anyone's crazy if they don't pick him first.
Hard to disagree. Even the Dodger fan, Clayton Kershaw fan, sitting across from me as well, may still pick Trout.
What about right field for the Angels?
Cole Calhoun,
one of the best American League leadoff men right now. Incredible defensive player. Graduate of Arizona State University, like many great players are.
Solid player.
The guy is a player. He had a career best 26 homers and 83 RBIs, along with 95 runs scored.
Wired by you in your fantasy league as well. Obviously, you knew something because he had a good year. Great year that helped you win, I should say. Yunel Escobar penciled in as their starting third baseman, with Andrelton Simmons at short, obviously. Second baseman. Why don't you say his name? Giovatella, is that how you say his name?
Johnny
Giovatella. And first base, Pujols questionable for opening day, but obviously he's going to be the regular first baseman. If not,
it'll be C.J. Cron, who had a breakout season last year. And C.J. can play first base or DH.
And that might be a little bit, mix and match there at the start if for some reason Pujols is not. I'll be surprised if he's not, but obviously you got to see how he feels after a foot surgery.
Don't discount Pujols offensively. He had 40 homers again, 95 RBIs, so the guy has many years to go, I believe.
I don't think that's going to be, obviously the more he plays DH will save him, obviously on the field, especially with that foot, so I think he'll probably be doing a lot more DHing this year. Great solid rotation still. You got Garrett Richards as the ace of the staff. C.J. Wilson in the slot at number 2. One of your personal favorites, Jared Weaver at 3. Yes,
Jared Weaver.
You'll be drafting him.
The Huntington Beach Surfer pitching for the Angels.
It's Andrew Haney, right?
Andrew Haney.
Nice rookie year, I think, for him, if he's had enough starts to qualify.
He originally was with the Marlins. He was traded to the Dodgers for D. Gordon and traded immediately to the Angels for Howie Kendrick.
Yes, who's no longer with the Dodgers.
Well, he's not yet, has he moved? But Haney came on. He was there middle to late season. He went 6-4.
Had some good starts.
349 run average.
Yeah, Matt Shoemaker, possibly the 5th starter. Hector Santiago in that mix as well, and a lot of guys in the mix possibly for the 5th spot.
Yeah, just solid pitching, and their closer can't be downgraded either.
Houston Street, definitely solid closer. So yeah, that definitely. They finished 3rd. I don't know if they've done enough, in especially a very tough division here. I still have them at 3rd.
They did finish 3rd. This will surprise you. I have them for 4th place this year.
I picked one of your teams higher than you. What's going on?
A team with Mike Trout should win just on his play alone.
So that good pitching, though. I don't know if I agree with your placement. If you don't agree, folks, as well, please let us know at the Fast Pitch MLB, Facebook.com/the Fast Pitch. And message Dr. Eric if you have a problem with him. We want you to say, hey, especially Angels fans.
I've been getting a bunch of messages too.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it during our next show.
So definitely needle him if need be. We're going to get quickly back into this The Oakland A's are our next team, finishing 5th place at 68 wins and 94
and you know
losses.
what? All I can say about the A's, or we'll recap them here, but I have a picture of Billy Beane here, and it's the saddest face I've ever seen on a general manager in
Worst
baseball.
team in the American League.
Yeah, and you know Billy's famous quote, if you don't win the last game of the season, you're not successful. Well, Billy, you guys need to win the first game of the season to show something.
Yes. Drew Pomeranz is gone in this trade for Yadier Alonso.
Yadier Alonso.
Yadier Alonso is now their first baseman. That's pretty much their main move. I know Lowry was traded to the White Sox. I don't know if there's any guys potentially, could be, depending on spring training, that's going to start from that trade. But we got Coco Crisp back and left for them. Billy Burns, right?
Billy Burns
in center field. Josh Reddick, the great right fielder, in right. Sam Fold, the scrappy player, he'll be a 4th outfielder for him.
Right.
Potentially, I think it was Mark Kana. He's in that mix along with first base, outfield, DH type of, and then DH is manned by Billy Butler, but, he could spell there. But Valencia at third, I believe it was Danny Valencia. He will hold down third base for them. Marcus Semien, I believe, is their shortstop.
Hope he improves his fielding. That's the main thing he needs to work
The
on.
Bears from that man.
Yeah.
Jed Lowry, I believe that's him, right? Moving to second base.
Right.
He returned from the Houston Astros,
That's right.
We forgot to mention that actually, that was actually a move that returning
Don't
to the
forget
A's.
Eric Sogard.
Eric Sogard also in that mix. Alonso obviously plays first base. The DH Billy Butler catching. The great Stephen Vogt, right?
Stephen Vogt is a very underrated player.
I think so. He's just team is around him is going to have to catch him there. I believe he was an all-star, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah. Josh Fegley, is that how you say his name?
Fegley.
Fegley is the backup catcher. Rotation, after Sonny Gray, who was their ace, clearly, we got, was it Jesse Hahn?
Jesse Hahn.
Kendall Graveman. Chris Bassett, who's obviously a rising star.
Yeah, he can start or relieve.
Yes, and then we got a bunch of guys in the mix, potentially Rich Hill, who's, can't believe he's still in baseball, but Rich Hill, scrappy, still in baseball, and he could be in that mix. He's there still, folks. Sean Doolittle, right, is their closer.
Sean Doolittle, yes. He had injuries last year, so he relinquished the closing role, but
he's back.
He's back.
I think he's going to be their closer. Finishing 5th, I still have him at 5th, unfortunately.
And so do I. And I
don't think they did enough. And they may surprise some people, obviously, but I don't see them getting out of this.
Billy's got to get his general manager hat back on and make a lot of moves.
Alonso, if he's not even on the radar for the Padres to keep him, I don't see how the Oakland A's are
he will not be an impact player.
Going to be, he's a good, solid contact hitter, but first base, I don't know. We're going to move on here to the Seattle Mariners, who finished 4th at 76 and 86 last year. They made a few moves here, and some good moves, I think. Nori Aoki will be playing
solid
left for them. Yes. Adam Lind is
Adam Lind comes over from the Brewers.
Lenois Martin is also in their outfielder. Chris Iannetta,
catcher from the Angels.
Clevenger, and correction you have as well in the rotation.
Yes, for edification here. Wade Miley is with the Mariners now. I mentioned he was with the Red Sox earlier, but he's such a forgettable player.
Yes.
No wonder I had it wrong.
Obviously, Dr. Eric, not a fan of Wade Miley because he has moved there. That's why I did not have him in my notes. Correction from the doctor. He must have had his Seattle Mariners notes in front of him when he was looking at the Red Sox. They've lost Trumbo. He's obviously gone, but looks like they did more acquiring than major subtractions here. Aoki obviously in left field for them. Martin in center, so that's 2/3 of their outfield.
They're quick,
completely revised and revamped. And Seth Smith, who actually, I think he came over in a mid-season deal with them from the Padres. He mans right field again this coming year, for them. Kyle Seager, great third baseman.
And he's only getting better. They need more steady players like Kyle Seager.
Yes, he returns at third base for him. Why don't you say, how do you say his name? Ketel Marte?
Ketel Marte.
Since Miller is gone, as we mentioned earlier in the show, now in the Tampa Rays, Marte takes over shortstop. Obviously, Robinson Cano is their second baseman.
Robinson is, and I want to mention something. Do not rule out a deadline trade sending Cano back to the Yankees. Just keep that in mind.
think so,
And remember
huh?
where you heard it first.
All right, this is a bold prediction of the year.
You have to be bold to be on this show.
Maybe that's something that we might have to bring back right before the season. Bold predictions.
Yes.
If you have any bold predictions, we definitely want to hear them as well. It's never too early. Adam Lind, obviously at first base.
Lynn, home run hitting first baseman.
Jesus Montero looks like he's in the mix. Clevenger for backup. Obviously, nobody's going to be replacing Nelson Cruz at DH.
No.
Big, gigantic bat for them. Chris Ionetta, as we said earlier, penciled in, along with Clevenger. Zunino, obviously, has fell.
Mike Zunino falls to third in
From
the catching
Grace.
rate. You know, and Mike Zunino doesn't bat his weight. He'll pound out 15, 20 homers, but that's about
A lot
all
of
he gets
power,
from
but
him.
yeah, he's going to have to battle his way for a starting job, looks like, at this point in time. Rotation topped by the awesome Felix Hernandez.
Yes,
King Felix.
King Felix.
Your first number one draft pick, wasn't he, for you? And,
yes, he
you
was.
know,
The
if we
King
were-
Felix, only great years to come.
Yeah.
And they were smart enough to lock him up to a
Yes.
10-year deal, as the Dodgers did with Clayton Kershaw.
Dr. Baseball's first-round draft pick in last year's fantasy, Hideshi Iwakuma, is that how you say his name?
Hisashi
Hisashi,
Iwakuma.
excuse me. Hisashi Iwakuma is
Now, he
number
threw
two.
a no-hitter last year. Why didn't he get Cy Young votes, MC?
I don't know. You just keep manufacturing things I've said, but unfortunately, we clearly know that who the Cy Young is. You know.
Yeah, we don't need to talk
We got
about
sour
that.
grapes here. We're next show.
That's ancient history,
National League preview show. We'll get into that. Wade Miley, the forgettable Wade Miley, if you're the doctor of baseball, is in the number 30 slot for the rotation. Taiwan Walker? Taiwan Walker,
I
number
think he's
4?
number 3.
You might be right. I think that flamethrower, he's only getting better, too.
Yeah.
Carnes, is it Nate Carnes?
Nate
Yeah, I
Carnes.
think, wasn't he formerly of the Rays,
Yes,
I believe?
Yes, he was.
Don't
forget Mike Montgomery,
Mike
who had a
Montgomery's-
solid season last year, left-hander.
Vidal Nuno, I want to say, I don't wanna mispronounce his name. Isn't it John Paxton? Or, not John Paxton.
Mike Paxton.
No, it's Jay Paxton.
Jay Paxton.
So he's in the rotation mix
Bill
as
Paxton.
well.
Who cares?
There's a lot of Paxtons, but he may not be in the fifth star. Carnes should hold that down, but never know. Doctor says look out for Montgomery. And former Marlins closer Steve Cishek is their closer here, and Carson Smith, who we talk about often, was their former closer. Here's another one we forgot to mention, one of their early moves, Joaquin Benoit.
That's
we would
right.
be remiss if we forgot him. He actually was one of their first moves. Great setup man, filled in closer for the Padres. He could possibly unseat Cishek, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention him. He was obviously a major acquisition as well in that mix for the Mariners. So, I have them still at fourth. I don't see them moving out of that spot right now. I think that's pretty much where they're going to stay. I mean, I think they're going to be better, but
Well, I'm going to surprise you here because I keep leaning on and saying pitching and defense wins right now. I'm picking the Mariners for second place.
Second place. Well, this is going to be interesting as we move into where you slotted the Rangers. If you're paying attention, folks, you know where he has them. So there it is. Goes down to the division-winning Texas Rangers at 88 wins and 74 losses.
And what an amazing comeback. They were in fourth place in August. They had a new manager, Jeff Bannister, and they stormed.
Manager of the year.
Manager of the year. And they stormed into first place at the end of the year,
Yes,
last
they
day of the
did.
season.
Yes, they did. They lost a lot of players, though. Trading Martin away, Linois. Mike Napoli is gone. He is now the first baseman of the Cleveland Indians. Giovanni Gallardo is still on the market, actually,
yeah, but
surprisingly.
they're not bringing him back.
He's not coming back. We just don't know where he's going to end up, folks. That's actually one of the surprises. I think one of those best pitchers probably still available.
Right.
Colby Lewis is a free agent
Colby
as well.
Lewis, a 15-year veteran of the Rangers, always
Gone.
a solid innings eater, and he's gone.
And I think the only major acquisition I have on record is, and as a major, he depending, but he's going to be backing up in the outfield, is Justin
Ruggiano, and I don't know if I'd call that major. He spent the last month of the season with the Dodgers, but we'll
That's
see.
the only acquisition of note as of right now. Still, off-season is still under here, but just to review their team, and they probably feel they don't have to make too many moves, but I would be careful because, the Astros acquiring Ken Giles, they're only going to get better.
Yeah.
Josh Hamilton returns to the left, had some injury concerns.
Is Josh going to actually
he-
play? He'll be there, but will he be as good as he used to be, there's no way.
It's
I don't
hard
think.
to, recapture. I mean, obviously years have passed since this time, his
His
glory
MVP
years with
season.
obviously the Rangers. We got Delino DeShields Jr. in center field. We got Shin-Soo Choo, correct?
That's right.
Look at that. I'm learning from you. He's playing right field. Obviously, Adrian Beltre returns at third,
The
but
great
barring
veteran
any type of trade because of Gallo, but I don't think he can unseat him
How
yet.
long can Beltre play? And he still produces. He's been in the majors since he was 18 years old with the Dodgers.
And I bet they want Joey Gallo, right, to play third base eventually for
They
him.
do. They have him listed as a third baseman, outfielder, but third base is his place.
Yeah, so injuries there, I think it's nice to have that big, huge bat of
Right.
Gallo. Obviously, for Josh Hamilton or Beltre, he can slide right in. Elvis Andrus, the great shortstop, he returns. Roughnet Odor returns also at second base, and
He overcame a real poor start last year, and he's on his way to being an all-star.
slid Jurickson Profar, the great prospect, still not in the mix. He's low on the depth chart
Been
now.
a prospect for a
falling
long
fast.
time, I think.
Yeah, that's sadly enough for them. Injuries have derailed his career. A.E. Franz, loyal listener of the show and follower of ourselves, his favorite player, Mitch Moreland, returns at first base. We know A.E. will be listening and be so happy to hear that.
Yes.
He returns at first base.
He had a career year last year,
had a
believe it or
great
not.
year last
Quietly,
year.
23 homers, 85 RBIs.
Yes. Prince Fielder, obviously, a monster returns at
Prince,
DH.
and all I can say is that I worked for the Brewers when Prince came up. Craig Best was there also, our great producer. The worst move the Brewers ever made was not re-signing him. Prince is a franchise player, in my
Went
opinion.
to the Tigers, who flipped him for Ian Kinsler
That's
a year.
right.
And yeah, he had to return, come back here for sure. And yes, he'll return, so big bats. And we got the catcher formerly of the Cubs, and I believe he was acquired in a trade. He's now slotted as their starting catcher, Robinson. How do you say his
Chirinos,
name?
Robinson
Chirinos, almost like Doritos.
He's healthy. Doritos. He's healthy. No challenges there. So
So yeah, he's healthy. Chris Jimenez, I believe is his name.
Chris Jimenez,
Yeah,
yeah.
Jimenez. He is the backup catcher behind Robinson, and we got a pretty solid rotation. We're gonna start with Cole Hamels. Obviously, is their ace.
oh yeah, and he also threw a no-hitter last year.
Yes, sir, he did. Yu Darvish returning from injury, slotted
right.
in as their number 2 starter.
Great pitcher who came from Japan.
Can you
and,
imagine they can let Gallardo go because they know Yu Darvish is going to be there.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes, Derek Holland, who's overcame some injuries in the past. Hopefully, he'll have a whole healthy year behind him. He'll be number 3, and is it Martin Perez?
Martin Perez.
number 4, and Gonzalez.
Chichi Gonzalez.
Chichi Gonzalez. I wanted you to say it. That's
Not to be
why.
confused with the tennis player.
Yes, he is number 5. So they don't have any questions there. Those are the guys they're going with Steve Tolleson holding up the back end of that bullpen there
Right.
as a closer. So pretty solid team. Won their division. I still think the Astros have it, so they're finishing second to me.
I have the Texas Rangers in third place, but again, I'll tell you that the division winner and the wild card will be in that mix in the AL West. There's no question in my mind. That's a solid division, 1-4. Drop the Oakland A's out of there, and you've got 4 of the best teams in the American League.
Obviously, the Doctor of Baseball has been paid off by the Seattle Mariners on the take, but
No, my former employer, yes, but they have a great team coming into 2016
he has
season.
faith. Yeah, so we had last year, again, to recap, we had the Rangers finishing first, the Astros second, Angels third. 4th was the Mariners, 5th was the A's. I have my picks for 2016, the Astros in first, Rangers second, Angels third, Mariners 4th, A's 5th. So I only have one kind of flip-flop on
I've got a little bit of a difference. I've got the Astros in first, of course. Mariners in second, Texas Rangers third. The Angels drop to 4th. And the Oakland A's remain in the cellar where they will remain for a while.
Did that to his lovable Angels? I don't know, but we had chock full, huge show here, and hopefully you stayed with us for the entire time of this 60 minutes plus show. We want to thank again our great producer, Craig Best, and thebeststation.net, the new home of the Fast Pitch and many other podcasts to come. We want to thank him as well, and just a reminder, folks, can be reached, at the Fast Pitch MLB on Twitter, Facebook.com/the / the Fast Pitch. We'll be back, obviously, with the National League preview show coming up, and then we'll have our regularly scheduled formatted show after that. So just to give you a plug here, stay tuned for next week's show, which will be posted with the National League preview show. And, Doctor, do you have anything to add before we let our fans go?
Just want to say, after that show, we will have our first guest, Duffy Dyer, who everyone's anxious to hear Duffy. And all I can say is thank you, folks, for listening. We've got a lot of comments and feedback. Thank you again, and have a pleasant week wherever you may be.
Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be back with the National League One next week. This has been a presentation of The Best Station. The best music for the best audience. TheBestStation.net.
Tomorrow